Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gino Spot, our first one of the year, the very first one of the year, the 1st of January indeed, is part 2 of Moments, Morsels and Memories, a look back overview of our 2021 shows, 104 shows I think we did last year, and with all your support, thank you for your support as well. We've got some of the regulars, Wendy Thompson, Brian Wilkinson, Kathy Marsh, I'm thinking Brendan Kelly and Carol Jacobs. I think they've watched just about every single show, and we are so thankful and we love you. We love the fact that you're supporting like this because it keeps us going. It keeps us sane indeed during these times. So, Gino Spotlight, Part 2, the Moments, Morsels and Memories from 2021. Let's dive straight in with Adrian Gardiner. How did you get from Zambia to here?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's quite an interesting story, is that obviously my dad was on a mine outside Bulawayo called the Bushlick Mine, and he met my mother there, who was the daughter of the general manager. And that mine closed. And so they went up to the copper belt in Zambia, where he was on the mine there. And so then it was during the war, and he tried to go to war, and they wouldn't let him go. And he was actually caught in the Zambezi in a canoe trying to go with his mate and sent back again because it was an essential service for the war, the copper, for ammunition and everything. And then when the war finished, we moved. I was born in 43. And in 47, we moved back to Bulawayo, where he was born and grew up. And then the interesting part of that story, to give you this full circle, is that him and his friends then, because that mine had closed, converted the mine into a school, and it became Falcon College. And my brother and I were one of the first there. And so that was an incredible part of my life, being a pioneer at the school. And I think that gave me a lot of my entrepreneurial ideas in life. It was quite incredible how really Rudefontein got on the map in Plettenberg Bay because Terence Millard was our trainer. And then we got into the horses in a big way. And I don't think it's ever been done again, is that we had 8 Group 1 winners in a year. We had Horse of the Year, Filly of the Year, and Sprinter of the Year. And it was just one incredible year. And I was walking on the beach where I had horses with Graham. And I walked one day on the beach with him in Muizenberg. And he said, look, Adrian, I'm going to give you some good advice. He said, I want to tell you something. Don't put it back. It'll never happen again. And then luckily somebody came along. I was in Zimbabwe at the time. Somebody came along and quite an interesting character. He came and bought the farm. And, everybody was surprised because we just sold it. And then I ended up with a hell of a lot of horses, which we put into the public company that was on the stock exchange. And I sold the real estate, and the horses went into the public company. So I got some cash, preference shares, and ordinary shares. And then that thing didn't work, and we turned it into a cash shell in the end. So it was an incredible ride, the horses, I must tell you. We had great success, and I will remember those days very fondly. When I was brought up in Zimbabwe, besides the school, my dad was involved in cattle ranching. And one of the farms there was, believe it or not, 150,000 hectares, which had its own game reserve in the middle of it. And so we were exposed to wildlife from a very early age. And I think that really gave me the thing that I really wanted, my patch of Africa. So I went back to Zimbabwe, and thank goodness I didn't find anything there. Went to the traditional areas around South Africa to find a game farm, and realized pretty quickly that if I didn't find something quite close to me, it wouldn't work, because I wouldn't get there. And, then I was at a cricket match, and a friend of mine sitting next to me said, there's a farm for sale just outside a place called Alisdale. And I went and looked at it, and it was a small hunting farm, only 1,200 hectares. And that was the start of another journey.
I suppose as the farms are around, you were able to buy them, you could make it larger.
Well, the first farm was paid. It was 1989. Paid 300 rand a hectare there for, and then the next farm came, and before long we'd had 11,000 hectares, and I realised that I'd have to commercialise it and make it into something worthwhile. So we did that, and I think the legacy today is obviously that the Eastern Cape is now a wildlife destination. which, it wasn't before. Addo had the elephant, but, bringing back the big five was certainly an ambition of ours, and we succeeded in it. Yeah, and then obviously, the biggest help in my life was obviously the incredible relationship I had with Dr. Ian Player. When everybody was laughing at me and said Shamwari wouldn't work, and this guy lost a couple of years, he was there for me all the time, and then he brought some incredible conservationists and introduced me to incredible conservationists around the world. And I think anything that you do, if you get endorsements for it, that's a big help. And and he was incredible, and all the other conservationists that came there were also of great enthusiasm and thought that this could work. The sadness of this, and as you said, the entertainment industry, and good friends of mine are the Mango Groove people, John and Claire, and they when we released the Lions into Shamwari and did the big five there, that was the last ones to come in. They sang that night at our reserve where the Lion sleeps tonight.
Lovely. And
I was speaking to John earlier, and he just said, you can't believe how your industry's messed up. Well, I said, if you'd like to come and sit in my chair, where we've had properties closed for 14 months, no income. We've tried to keep all the people employed, trying to do everything. It's devastating. And I was talking to somebody this morning, and I said, all I can say is I'm very happy that I've lived when I did, but I didn't expect to have to face this mess at this stage of my life. But, we look at it all and the opportunities. I don't think I've ever had stress before, but I must tell you in that these current times is definitely, I've learned that there is such a thing as stress. But I think that we'll overcome it. There's going to be different ways to do it. But, I've also said to many people is that I've climbed a hell of a lot of mountains. But, I've seen a view. With this one, there's no view because we don't know when it's going to finish. That's the frustrating part about it.
Well, what makes you laugh no matter what?
Yeah, you know what I said? I spoke to Shirley-Ann about it. You know what it is? Sometimes when I hear, and I say it with respect, when I hear these talks on TV, when these politicians start talking, the biggest lot of drivel you've ever heard, and you just say, you just want to laugh your head off because, but you've got to give them credit because they can bullshit their way around, that they actually think we're going to believe it.
That's politics for you.
Yeah, it's a laugh. And it's sad because, I honestly believe that if, and I think Madiba did it right. If you remember who his cabinet was when he started, there were a lot of very intelligent businessmen in it, and if you want to run something properly, if we need politicians, but they need us probably more than we need them.
Yeah. I mean, you know Cyril though, don't you? You've worked with Cyril before.
Yeah, I mean, that was through Graham Beck. Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I obviously met Madiba at the Saxon, and, because that's where he went before we opened that hotel, and I've met him there. What a privilege it was. And then, obviously, following him is that President Mbeki and his wife. I eventually got her to join us in the Wilderness Foundation as a trustee of ours. I think an unsung heroine. She really does work for people and does a lot of work there. And I found him to be incredibly interesting to talk to. And I know he's had his issues with HIV and everything. And then and the other one was McClunty. Obviously President Zuma, I didn't have much, but I met him. But Kgalema and I and his wife have also become good friends. So, and then obviously now following with Cyril. And I met Cyril through Graham Beck because Graham Beck helped him in his business in Kangra. So, we did know each other quite well from that. And, just remember the days of Thabo where, he used to bring these businessmen out from overseas every year. And they had those conferences, and we did 3 of those conferences.
Wow.
And, it just shows you that sort of person understands that you need the business world to understand where we want to go to, and it's just very sad, and when you think where we were with the Rainbow Nation, and we're going back to, this whole business of I get so disappointed, the racialism coming up again, and instead of just putting that behind us and acknowledging that we had the privileges, then let's use the knowledge that we have to give back and sort it out. Unfortunately, I don't know whether it's luck or intuition, but in 2008, we sold Shamwari, And I got out in 2011. In 2008, the world crashed. As you know, the economy went upside down. But we managed to keep, I kept my lodge next door, and we have full traversing rights. And obviously, that's where the Founders Lodge is. And then 3 years ago, we sold 50% of our brand to Accor, which obviously was, again, rather lucky. But we did it for 3 reasons. And the first reason was we needed a proper distribution system. We needed a loyalty program. And thirdly, I was very determined to open our own NGO attached to our brand, and that's the Community Conservation Fund Africa, which, we've been running for 3 years. All our hotels are so diverse and so different. What has been very interesting for me is that Accor are absolutely intrigued about our brand. They're the second biggest hotel group in the world, and we're a little pinhead in their thing there, but everybody in Accor wants to know more and more about this, the group and what we stand for, and that's inspiring.
Gino Spot has always been uplifting, and I'm always a little bit reticent when it comes to controversial guests. Gary doesn't mind at all, as per his personality, but I'm always a little bit nervous. And one of those guys that you never know what's going to happen on your show would be Renaldo Gouws, controversial DJ, DA councillor, and local YouTube sensation. What's your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure is definitely watching YouTube videos. That's my guilty pleasure. That's when I just... Yeah.
And smoking electronic cigarettes.
No, this is not a guilty pleasure. This is like healthy compared to me smoking 30 a day. The most controversial opinion that I have is that the death penalty should come back.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
I'm on the other side there.
Whether or not you trust the government and the court system to implement it, trust me, I get it. I'm talking about a moral standpoint. And like you said, it's a controversial topic, and that is my most controversial opinion. The quirks definitely is, I think that I'm funnier than what I really am. And I'm terrible at analogies. Asking me to compare something and use an example, you're always going to get the cuckest type of analogies. Yeah. Oh, yes, my wife is right. I've got a phobia of... No, it's not a phobia. It's just I don't allow people to touch my knees. It's like...
touch your knees?
Yeah, it's grillerig. That is such a beautiful Afrikaans word.
Grillerig. That is weird. That's a little bit weird.
No, it's just... Well, yeah, okay, it is weird.
Did you have, like when you were young, was there somebody that used to touch your knees?
A stranger danger. No, none of that, no.
You touch me over here, and you touch me over here.
No, none of that. It's just I fell on one of my knees. I fell on my knees once, and it was the most excruciating pain. And now it's just like, it's overly sensitive when people if I touch it, I can't even touch my own knees. It's like just nah. So when I'm in the shower, like the most dirty part is my knees because it never gets washed. So yeah.
That is good. Gary's falling off his chair on the side here. If you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends and family assume that you'd done?
Oh, they would probably assume that I spoke my way into an arrest. That's what they would. I would have souped cock with somebody, and I would have my mouth would have gotten me arrested. Yeah. That's it, without a doubt.
Someone tag Wayne Callis, because that's exactly what he does as well.
Yeah, like people talk their way out of shit. I talk my way into shit. That's how. In die kak.
Okay, in die kak, and I'll say. What's the most imaginative insult you've ever come up with, and who was it directed at?
Look, so that's an interesting question, because whenever I pick a fight with people, they either tend to end up in jail. So we've got Andile Lungisa, and we've got what was the previous spokesperson? What's the convicted criminal's name? Who was the spokesperson for the Metro now? Come on, man. Roland Williams.
Roland Williams.
Yeah, both those convicted criminals, so yeah. So I would. What was the question again? I just wanted to get that in there.
That's fun. Do you do practical jokes?
Yes. Yeah, I do. And I can give you one prime example. So yes. the worst practical joke that I've pulled is where I actually sort of told somebody, I played a prank on somebody that they were late for a meeting that didn't exist, and that I had to tell them that they are fired because they missed that meeting. That was the practical joke. Yeah. Because it was believable because I'm an industrial psychologist. So it was really, really cool. But I love practical jokes. I mean, cool. I'm so into practical jokes that I actually bought fart spray from Amazon. The worst. I mean, it's so bad that I Googled what is the worst smelling spray you could find, and then I checked at the reviews, and then I bought 3 bottles of it. Not 1 bottle, 3 bottles, because I knew that I was going to use it more than once.
Fart spray?
Yeah, well, me, apparently.
What do you think of tattoos? Do you have any?
Yeah, I've got let me brag. I've got...
Well, on your knees.
Okay. So I've got one here, and I've got one on the other shoulder, and then I don't know if it'll actually come through here, but I can show. I've actually got one right there.
Okay.
And then
what is that?
Okay,
what is that on your shin? That's a
So this is, if you look there, it's not the Illuminati.
Oh, it's
not the Illuminati. No,
it's a mouth with the.
So that is the Eye of Providence, which is the Trinity God, right? It's the first time that somebody painted the Trinity God in a painting. You know, the Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit, right? And then every tattoo I've got has got a meaning. So all of this is got to do with these things here around it is honeycombs, and that signifies problems that I've had in my life that I've overcome because of God.
Okay.
So and then I've got the tattoo in the back here, which is
yes, sir.
It's an owl with a sugar skull.
Yes.
And that represents the sugar skull is everybody in my life that's passed away. And then the owl is owls are known for knowledge. So it is the knowledge that the people that has passed on in my life has bestowed upon me. So every single tattoo I've got, and then I've got one that I can't show because you'll have to see my underwear, and I don't think Spa will be happy with
Wendy.
that. So.
Say Wendy, and then
no, the one on the side I've got is it's got life and death. So the one is death tattooed in. It's a mirror image of Jesus with with the crown, the thorned crown, and then the other one is death. So it's like everything inevitably leads to death, but God saved us, so we'll never ever truly die. If that makes sense, it's very deep. So it's very, very deep.
Your faith is strong. Your faith is strong there.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not a church-going Christian, but I am a Christian. You know, if that makes sense. Okay. I don't sit voor in die kerk and all of that stuff, but I'm very religious. So yeah.
Okay, what's the most physically painful thing that you've ever experienced? It's your knees.
Kidney stones.
Oh, kidney stones. Oh, somebody said that.
That was
Mimi.
Let me be accurate here so that you can get context.
Okay.
A kidney stone that was 12 millimeters in diameter. Let that sink in.
Holy crap. That's like a
1.2 centimeters.
Oof.
1.2 centimeters. No, I didn't pass it. They had to cut it out.
I was going to say, because that would have been like the freaking Sacramento cannon there.
And listen, can we just settle this now? Because I actually spoke to the nurses, right? And the nurses there had children. And 2 of them had passed kidney stones. And they said for them, with, knowing that it's harder for a man to pass a kidney stone, it was the most painful experience ever, more than childbirth, right? So to everybody here, they would like to argue about, I gave birth to a child. Well, no, I've experienced the most pain, which is a kidney stone. Thank you very much. Good night.
Okay, what's the most amazing physical feat that you've managed to pull off?
But I would say doing a 25-day stint of DJing during a December period where I DJ'd for every night. So I DJ'd from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock every night for 25 days straight.
Holy moly, that's hectic. That's like
I think that's an iron DJ on its own, right? Do I get an iron DJ for that?
You get a prize.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go.
All right.
Here we go. In case you didn't get enough out of it. Yes.
Don't worry, I'm gonna send you a whole case as well. So we're gonna
thank you. Well, there we go. Thank you, Fitch and
there we go.
Thank you, Fitch and Leeds. Yeah. My hobbies is YouTube, and then obviously I used to have a drone, but I don't have a drone anymore, and I don't fly my drone because it will be illegal to fly your drone. So yeah.
Okay, no, that's cool.
I miss that damn drone so much.
Yeah, it must be terrible. It must be terrible. One of the things that this show has kind of managed to do is to bring people together, and specifically from the entertainment industry, where people have been locked down and not able to work. We've had people on that have been able to connect again with not only with their audience but also with their friends and people in the industry. And of course, the entertainment industry was one of the hardest hit. And Craig Hort came on with some of his friends who were very, very keen to let us know all sorts of stories from the past. Duncan Crisp and Shane Barnes came on as well to give Craig Hort a little bit of stick. But my favorite from the interview was Shane's father, Graham Barnes, who was a muso that I played with for many years, an old muso that was acting as the waiter, coming in serving them drinks. We had a cracker of a time that evening. These guys, I got a hold of Craig, okay, and I said, Craig, I want you on the show. Come on, do the show. So I thought, well, let me phone Duncan because he knows Craig as well, and we can get some maybe a bit of info that we can do, a little bit of drop-ins here and there. And let me tell you, from there, this fire happened, and I've had my phone has been red hot the entire week because Duncan has been so bloody excited. These guys had a get together at Duncan's place 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago. I was invited, but I couldn't get there because I was in East London on Saturday, and they had a whiteboard. Now I think I've actually got a picture of that whiteboard. Go up a little bit there, Philip, and let me see if I can. There's a picture of the notes there at the bottom. There we go. Check us out. They've got all the anyone we can look at them all. There we go. There's your whiteboard. That's a mess. That's all the information. They decided to go through the history of everything on the drunken whiteboard. Look at that.
It was a great evening.
My God, well, I'm glad I gave you a good chance to get together and look at how untidy the writing is at the end of the night. It's like dyslexia 101.
The problem is that the youth today have about a 30-second lifespan memory.
Cram all the top hits into 20 minutes, and then what?
All right.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So 20-minute set.
As dance music is designed to make you dance. Bottom line, you have a maxi version, let's call it, and it's designed to make you actually dance. Whereas the youth today, like 30 seconds, my kids, next tune, YouTube.
Yeah. Really? Flick. That's the way it goes. It's not.
That's it.
Nobody listen to an album anymore. I mean, there's Graham in the background there who knows that he probably knows every song on those Beatles albums. Graham.
I
I don't want water. Yeah, don't do
Go, Graham. I've jammed many gigs with Graham. Let me tell you, he's great. He's a wonderful man. I love that man.
Like a legend. He taught me how to build basements.
Yes.
It took us 20 minutes to find our bed after that, but yeah, it was phenomenal.
There we go. No, Wayne Cecil saying Duncan's mouth looks dry. There was this DJ was just saying that he's in the right place now because you referenced maxi single, yeah. Maxi version.
Yeah, the big thing was
12-inch.
Like when we went to 52 one night, Craig and myself, and we heard Munro Munich play Armand van Helden's Ma Ma Ma. Okay, and we went to the turntables and we tried to read like this. And it was a white we begged him for it, you know. There's so many people.
All right.
If I wrote a book, I'd probably...
In those days... Oh, there we go. It plays Mini Gig played at Illusion with Taxi at the stage door. Graham, there we go. Taxi. Graham, your dad, of course, Shane, is Graham. He played with Taxi.
He's got to get drinks.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, shit. Yeah.
There we go. Keyboard player for Taxi. Taxi, of course, with Harry Lloyd and was it Cyril Hotel on bass?
Right, yes. Robbie drums and
Robbie Fisser.
Remember Baldy from the Spit?
Yes, Baldy. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Roger Grant. On guitar.
The rock bands I ever played in.
And there's so many people,
You know,
so many friendships we've made. Yes, we failed.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Oh no! Somebody says, as much as you hate it, deep down, the captain gets it going.
So true. Guys, thank you very much. You know,
I'm challenging
him. Graham, you're a legend. Ciao.
No, going well. Running obviously the wedding side and the corporate side, but corporate side at this point in time not really happening. Obviously with the whole COVID story going on.
Yeah.
But weddings, thankfully, are coming back in.
Okay, now, Oaks, before you bugger off now, before it cause too much cuck with us. like an old couple. Oh, guys, before you go, are you guys going to have a reunion gig? Are we going to do a fat party when the time comes?
We're going to call it the Enjoy Yourself Party. Yeah.
How original! Oh, did your waitress back? Thanks, Graham. Graham, we love you, Graham. We love you.
Okay.
The first show that we travelled outward bound all the way to St. Francis Bay to interview was Natti and Mark. Natti's Thai Kitchen, of course, being part of PE's Fibre. And we wanted to find out the inside track on what goes on in the restaurant. Natti was a scream.
Natti speaks to her mum every day every day. Every single day.
3 o'clock on time, like newly poured.
Oh, lovely.
At the moment, because it's COVID, I can't get home.
Yes. Okay. So do you normally make regular trips back?
12 years.
Okay, wow.
Natti gone Thailand.
Natti gone Thailand. Yes. So that's time when the restaurant has to close. Or?
Yes.
Okay, wow.
And it's quite a nice thing that people understand that.
They do.
And just remember, for 25 years of cooking, I'm the one cooking.
Yeah.
I'm the one doing all the preparation.
Wow. So
everything.
Still.
Yes.
You're not interested in getting a staff there?
No, they just keep clean up.
Okay. It's just for cleaning.
Just clean up.
Okay, so you like to keep hands on there?
Yeah, I'm hand on.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Mark, you just been out front.
Yeah, I've been out front of the house.
Chatting to the
yeah, that's pretty much time in the kitchen. I get chased out the kitchen, which is normally pretty much what I want to happen. And then I just handle front of house.
But the trust each other, that's important. You know, he's my best friend anyway. When the shit hit the fan, him to know first.
Absolutely. It's like it needs to be like that.
Yeah.
It needs to be. Yeah. It's fine.
You know, especially in our game, you know. I mean, if you had loggerheads, man, it's just you know, especially with in a relationship or a marriage, it's like in trying to both of you be in the same place and run a restaurant. Where there's going to be explosions.
Saying sorry, I mean, or like holding that grudge.
Sorry, too late.
Yeah, too late. And holding that grudge is actually pointless. You know, it's like that's not the thing.
But clearly, when your brain is clear, you say something. I say, you know, yesterday you are car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Once you've thought about it, so you
just accept your shit. What you're doing. That's it.
Yeah.
And it blow over and done.
Look, I will hear. I will hear it.
Hear about it.
Yeah.
We can have a
for sure.
Yes.
What's it called?
Disciplinary hearing.
Yeah.
We have had the disciplinary hearing.
A Natti disciplinary.
Yeah. No arbitration. It's just her way or the highway. You know.
That's it.
And I think some people thought they come to the restaurant and they have to be treated like a king and queen.
Yeah.
And the one thing, don't point finger at my husband.
You really stuff it.
Yeah.
You don't like
Let's
that?
go cook yourself at home.
Don't point your finger at Mark, otherwise you're gonna go eat at home.
You're lucky you don't get half a wok clapping on your head.
People bring their own cooler box.
All right.
So it's got a very like informal, like chilled vibe, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Like I mean, people go and fish their own glasses.
Okay.
You know.
I like that. So it's like Natty's saying. I think you were kind of saying that it's you're part of the family when you come in.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And I also find that you get diners that like to go to places that they know the food.
Yeah.
And it's consistent, and they don't have to order.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the people that come to Natty's will just say to me, you know, just bring us some food. You know, remember like the last time we were here.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, we had this and that. Just do the same. You know. Or
Yes.
Gouws was I would say was like the original roots. That was the Natti roots.
When we opened
Natty's roots.
Fully booked for 6 months.
Wow.
You can't get in because this is small.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And I used to say to my close the door, we got nothing to sell.
Sold out.
We sold out everything. And then we start from 9 o'clock in the morning and we do lunch as well. And of course, those days we going home like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and next day going again. You know, like a machine.
But that was we did that for about 2 years.
2 years.
Then I basically said, like you know, I'm either abandoning ship here.
Yeah. It's your chance now.
Yeah, like it's either dinner.
Yeah.
One sitting a day.
Yeah.
Or if it's 2, I'm out.
Okay.
Helped you start this thing. Well done.
Yeah.
Carry on. I'll go find something else to do. You know?
Go back to your old job.
Oh, yeah,
at least you only finished at 9.
Yeah. We would have been like a normal 8 to 5. You know? I think the dumbest things I do is trying to like do DIY really.
Oh really?
Yeah. DIY and me have never really been a great partnership or friend. So
I love it.
Whatever I've built has collapsed.
Okay.
Remember coffee table you make for me?
Mm-hmm.
One leg missing.
Yeah.
And he said, you're really nice. I said, yeah, okay. No comment.
A coffee table you made, one leg missing. and when do you love Natti the most?
I'll tell you when I love Natti the most.
When I sleep.
It would be either when she sleeps or 3 hours after she's woken up. Oh, she takes quite a while to.
Oh, I see. She warms up.
Yeah.
Shit, okay.
Yeah, she is.
Don't wake you up.
Morning
Not a
person
morning
at all.
person.
I'm a different Natti. Well, just remember that we went to Thailand and they thought as the woman got a foreigner husband, they must be rich. That their concept in their mind.
Yeah.
And the older they even worse. My parents couldn't tell anybody where I'm married with him.
Yeah.
Because that can be a bad side. Because I went obviously study through Israel.
Yes.
And then not many in my year, in our age, not many people go study overseas.
Absolutely.
And then end up with a Frankie.
Foreigner.
Foreigner.
Yeah.
And I remember the day we got married, we in Cyprus. I phoned my parents. You remember the older day with a long telephone wire in each room have?
Yes.
And we live in Bangkok and we got one upstairs and downstairs. And probably in that period, and you can hear conversation, you pick up the phone.
Party line.
Yes.
Party line.
And I remember, I said, Dad, not joking, 9 o'clock, I'm signing a paper today, I'm getting married today. Not joking.
And right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then my mother, obviously on another line, she listened to conversation.
All right.
She said, where you come from? I said, from South Africa. Speak English. You Jewish. What Jewish? You remember the Nazi? Then my mother said, South Africa. Only bread? I said, no, mommy, what? That's impossible.
From Africa.
No, but I would say the craziest thing I've done is like using somebody else's passport to get across the border.
Sweet lordy, that's a hectic thing.
I'll leave it at that.
The most uncomfortable place you ever slept?
One place in Bangkok. Remember? Look, I'm in Thailand. It's very small, and we live in Bangkok.
Okay.
And we talk with my family, my aunt. They are staying in the flat, but you're looking at these are big now.
Yeah. Okay,
you're looking at 3/4 of this room.
Yeah.
And they already have 4 people.
Yeah.
They are insistent to staying with them. Okay. And I'm quite reluctant. I said, and I said, look, and I said, let's just try. So we did try, end up we slept on the top of each other. We didn't do anything though, because we got no space.
Up until now, we've done a pretty good job of keeping Mr. Cock up at bay. Technical issues can always be a problem with live streaming, and they are insurmountable sometimes. In this particular case, we had about 3 load shedding schedules, one after the other. The solar didn't work because there was no sun at the time. It was raining and we had no chance. We had to end the interview just about in the dark with a little laptop and a small little light. But Andrew Greeff was very understanding and handled it with aplomb and a bit of humor.
Where did you go to school?
Alex.
Alex?
Oh, we went to Alex, yeah.
My soul. So PE, born and bred?
Yeah, born and bred. Yeah,
so
a lot of the guys at Alex, no, geez, and my sons went to Alex as well. So,
okay, well, there's one of my teachers here, Geraldine.
Yeah, now Geraldine was head girl.
Yes.
In 74 when I was deputy head girl. I mean, I was deputy head boy.
So, all right, and we're back. Okay. And we're back load shedded. Can you believe it?
Another day in Africa.
You know, lots of love for you.
Thank you. Thanks, Sean.
But always a gentleman, Andrew.
Thank you.
And I get that. I get that. I mean, there was so much stuff going down in the studio always.
Yeah.
Difficult people.
I think we were taught that at SABC years back on. In those years there was no colleges you can go study. You couldn't go to Cape Order College. So SABC in Joburg, where Auckland Park opened.
Yeah.
So I went to work in Joburg for 3 years when Auckland Park opened. When Commissioner Street closed.
Okay.
So we had this. I mean, we had the best of the best there. It was And I can remember them having a training session, a training school for the staff only.
Yes.
And there were just some principles that they taught us of this, which later in life didn't help your blood pressure.
Right.
Because actually, fun when your cardiologist says, "How come you always stay calm?" And I said, "Well, I was taught this." He said, "Yeah, but your heart is going, help me, help me."
Please.
So I can remember that, and so we were taught, if you stay calm in a broadcasting time and that type of thing, you'll find the fault.
Yes,
Or
yes,
you'll
yes.
find, when it's chaos, you're going to find
it
out.
cool.
So find it, trace it, trace with the fault.
When the lights go out, get the laptop up, put on the video.
Like I just saw now, you and Gary was as calm as ever.
Calm as cucumbers.
Yeah, I mean, I felt quite intimidated. Just not even they didn't say a word. You just did it.
Just go. You got to go.
Guys, you have seen nothing behind the scenes, really.
Creepy April Fool's Day.
No. Listen, I was hoping he wasn't going to say that.
Come on, bring it.
April Fool's Day, I get this call. Now, in those days, cell phones didn't exist. So I get this call to my house.
Yes.
And Robbie says to me, my car's broken down in First Avenue.
Okay.
So I get into my Cortina and I
Cortina?
drive the Cortina.
Yes, a big
1600.
1600. Okay.
So I drive to there. I get to his car. He's got a Forenza.
I remember the Forenza as well. Yeah.
So we hook it up. I tow it, check it, hook the thing up. I tow the guy all the way back. Would you do this to a friend? You would never do this to me. No. Tow it all the way back from First Avenue to his house. Get out of the car, untie the towage, everything else, and he starts to and he shouts out the window, "April Fool."
You bastard!
Yes, nice guy. The most embarrassing moment was UPE Tartan Track.
Oh yeah.
Friday night, the athletics finals.
Yes.
Everybody's there. The stadium's full of people. It's one of those nice warm nights.
Nice.
I'm in the 100-meter final.
I can imagine.
Everybody sees report to me.
100-meter final.
100-meter final. I was in, I think, grade 12 or 11.
Yeah.
Sprinter and everything else.
Spikes.
And do you remember those sprinting shorts? Those thin, they're very thin.
Like,
and then they've got a big slit here because the sprinters, you can stretch.
I mean, I've got one similar.
No, it's not that. Oh, no, please, no, you wouldn't be on TV, So we had tracksuits on because we were warming up and everything else. And the stadium's full of people. Yeah. And the starter, Mr. Rosenberg, still says with his little speaker, "Take your marks."
Take your marks.
So we get ready. We take our tracksuits off, and I turn, fortunately, with my bum towards the people, and I take my tracksuit off, but I take my shorts off with me. So I'm standing in my jocks, and I don't know it. So I'm putting them off like this.
My soul.
And the guy from Andrew Robbie sitting up, and we know each other well. Because we used to race against each other, and he looked up and he collapsed. And he says, "Yeah, I'm standing in my job." And you know those vests that you run with, they're short. So here's the stadium, and I'm in my jogs. And I'm standing there, and he says, "Andrew," and I grab my pants and I pull my shorts back up again. Of course, the people in the audience are paralytic. They're all watching the 100-meter. The problem was we couldn't start a race because we were laughing so much.
One of the advantages of an online show is that you can connect with people that have left the country, because it doesn't matter where you are. It's the internet is everywhere. There's nowhere to hide. It's great for us to then update for expats and to find out what they've been doing, because the show reaches everywhere, even to the Greek islands, where we caught up with Kevin Abrams.
When we were about, 9 or 10 years old, I formed a band, and we called it the Pajama Chords. Now, I can't remember who did what, but Lawrence Barris either played guitar or drums. There was a guy called Keith Simon. He was also involved. There was a couple of little guys, and we were all quite talented. And somebody decided to record us at a recording studio, and we recorded a 7-single. And we did, and I don't think I was older than 10 years old. And we did a 7-single, and of course, all the parents at the school and etc. They all bought the 7-single. And it's interesting that Lawrence reminds me of that, because it was really, that was the first time that I got the taste, of, let's do a bit of music.
It's great.
What am I drinking? It's a good question. I'm drinking something called mastika.
Mastika?
Yeah. So
what is that?
Mastika is a traditional Greek drink, which is very, very potent, and it's done in Cyprus, and I make my own. So what you're seeing here is my own homemade mastika.
Right. We're doing a lot of that here as well. Since
if you think I've got a suntan, it's not the sun, mate.
Are you playing gigs in Cyprus? Yeah.
Mickey, I'm not playing gigs yet. As you know, I'm very, very interested in original music, and I'm looking at doing an original music platform. There is huge amounts of music in Cyprus,
wow.
but it's quite. I mean, like, you can't believe what goes on here. There's fantastic musicians, brilliant music, but the tendency in Cyprus is tributes and familiar stuff. Because the tourists come and they want to hear something they're familiar with.
Of course.
As you know, I'm very interested in original music. And what I'm hoping to do in Cyprus, once I'm properly settled, is create a platform for original music. There's amazing singer-songwriters here, and I'd love to help to expose them as a project. Israel was never on my radar. I had other things to do. But I think, you know what? I need the money. I trust my buddy, and I've made my way across Europe and crossed over the Mediterranean and arrived in Haifa on a Sunday morning. Yeah. And then I hitchhiked to Tel Aviv. I had about 10 cents in my pocket. I met my buddy. I went, what you do when you're young, I went onto the streets of Tel Aviv. I took my buddy's dog. His name was Jess, and she was like a really sad looking dog.
Oh, shame. And
I put her next to me, and everybody was giving her money. It's so cool. And everything went really, really, really well for me that day, with a whole bunch of good things happening. So I invited, this was the day I arrived, I invited Jeremy for a drink at one of the biggest pubs in Tel Aviv, which was called the White House. That's what it was called. And standing behind the counter was a very, 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 very beautiful woman, 21, 22 years old. And the owner of the White House, because I came with my guitar, he said, play a song. If the people like you, we'll give you drinks. So I asked this very beautiful woman, what song would you like? And she said, Southern Man.
Southern
by
Man.
Neil Young.
Oh, Southern Man. Oh, Southern Man. Wow. Okay.
Southern Man by Neil Young.
Oh, Southern. Southern.
I imitate my lovely accent. Yes.
I see. Southern Man.
So I sat down. I played. The audience went. Yeah. I turned to her and I said, "What do you think?" She said, "It's not good enough." I went back to my buddies and I said, "You see that girl? She's mine." Then I came every day and I tipped her every day. I tipped her everything I earned on the street. And then she invited me over one evening, and here we are since then.
And one thing led to another. Oh, my word.
Yeah. Abraham, Kevin Abraham, my word. We've got some amazing memories together. One of particular interest is the night we went out for Thai food. Kevin and Michal and myself. I think it was just the three of us. It was a very cold night, so hot Thai food was really nice. And then I believe we had 1 or 2 whiskeys as well, maybe 3.
Maybe a bottle.
That's what happens when you're with the Abrahams. And on the way home, when we got back to Kevin and Michal's place, I sort of opened the gate first and walked in ahead of them to find the beloved dog Echo lying on his back with his legs in the air. It's sort of like steam coming off him. And realized that Echo was no longer with us. Echo had departed.
Died in his sleep happily at the age of 14.
I think your dog is dead. And Michal freaked out in her lovely Israeli way, which was something amazing to behold. Michal, you've got a glorious accent. We all love it. Anyway, Michal insisted that we take Echo to the vet. Not the following day, but right there and then. So Kevin and I grabbed, I think it was Rain's boogie board, and we put Echo on the boogie board, but the Echo was rather slippery, and it was cold. It was a very cold night, so Echo was slipping off the boogie board. Of course, we both serious dog lovers and animal lovers, and we would never laugh at a dead dog, but we did start laughing, and I can't recall if Michael found it that funny, but the vet and his assistant, when we arrived at the vet at 11:30 on Friday night, the vet and his assistant didn't find it funny at all, which obviously made it even funnier for us, and we felt a bit misunderstood because it looked like we didn't care about animals, but we really did. It was just the situation that was funny, especially when we sort of navigated the corner into the vet's offices, and Echo's leg got stuck and pulled him off the boogie board once again. That was one of my memories with Abrahams. Miss you, Kev.
You know what? I wanted to be a champion boxer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I wish I had and I never had. So my proudest moment is it's actually occurred a couple of times. So having mentored Michal and supported her in her karate journey, each time she won her black belt, then she won her first dan, her second dan, her third dan, her fourth dan, her fifth dan.
Wow.
And if she hadn't injured her back, she would still be doing it. Each of those moments was a peak experience for me. It was like I freaked out. I was so proud of the girl. So that achievement that Michal had, I'm not just saying it because I want Nuki later on. I really felt that. To everybody that came from, all over the place, I was amazed. I mean, Europe, Cyprus, Israel, America. Thank you so much, really, from the heart, from both me and Michal. It was cheers, Peter, Germany. Thank you so much, guys. I mean, we've had such a good fun. Gino, your show is spot on. You and Gary, awesome stuff, man. I'm definitely gonna tell everybody about it. I really enjoyed myself. I never knew the time would go by so quickly.
Yes, I know. As we progressed with the show, we've tried to get questions that will scratch a little bit deeper into the personalities and to our guests so that they can give us really interesting stories. And we've introduced now the Getting to Know You section and, of course, the Would You Rather section, as well as the Either Ors. I would always ask the guest at the end of the show what your most embarrassing moment is. And Dante Cicognini from Remo's let this clanger loose.
Tennille, don't kill me for this one, love.
Yeah.
So, and I think the recipe might, I don't know if, this is, can I put two together?
Yes.
Because I'm sure you're going to ask me what's the most embarrassing thing I've ever done.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, this is a combination.
Okay,
Are you happy with that?
All right, I'm happy.
Okay. So, Tennille used to live in Samantha, just off Samantha Way. In Fransby.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, I can't believe I'm telling the story. But anyway, I'll put it on my sleeve. Yeah. And in those days, it was probably 94, 93, 95, somewhere around there. I can't remember. But dungarees were the big thing.
Okay.
Akajo
dungarees. I remember.
The denim ones. And my dad was fortunate enough to have taught me how to drive a vehicle at 13.
Yeah.
So at this stage, I was probably about early 17 without a license.
Okay.
But he'd given up on worrying about me driving around town without a license.
All right, yes.
Anyway, so I had spent the night at Tennille's, and her father told me I must go home.
Yes.
And I decided not to really go home at the time that he told me to go home. But her bedroom was like right on the other side of the house, and there was no ensuite toilet there.
Yes.
So I was hanging around, and there was a bay window on the lounge that I could jump in and out of. So her parents had actually thought that I'd gone home. But now I needed the loo.
Oh, okay, like you did, yeah.
No, not that sort of needed the loo. Needed the loo. So I said to her, okay, look, I've got to go home. There's no way.
Yeah.
So from Samantha Way, it's now straightforward through the dip, but you go through the dip, and at the bottom of the dip, I said, okay, well, I can't hold this anymore.
Yeah.
So I decided, out the bakkie, found a tree, and as I got to the tree, the searchlights of the
the on-off lights came on of the neighbor, and then the flippin' sprinkler system came on. But the dungarees were down already, so I thought, well, it's over now. Anyway, I did my business, and in a hurry, I was soaking wet, and then I pulled the dungarees up, and my God, I shat in the back of the dungarees. So that's the dumbest.
That's the dumbest thing you
and the most embarrassing thing. So I proceeded to take all of that off, go shower in the
sprinklers.
In the sprinklers, threw it on the back of the bakkie, and drove home naked. There's
the most classic story.
Well, that's the fact story.
That's the funniest story we've ever heard on the show.
And in those days there weren't cell phones, and I couldn't phone Neil on the landline at that time of the night, so I could only tell you the story the next day.
Oh, my soul, that's the most hectic story.
But it's the truth, I promise.
Fantastic story. You're the winner.
Am I the winner?
Yeah, you're the winner.
One of the Eastern Cape's most beloved stars, sports legend Dave Callahan, shared some of his fondest cricket memories.
His dad, who recently passed away,
yes,
in Australia, said to me, Gavin and I, will you please find Gavin a job? So I said, yeah, okay, fine. He can't just sit on his backside the whole time. He needs to go and work and earn some money. So anyway, I thought to myself, while I'm playing cricket there, I might as well join him as well, earn some extra money, So we went to the local employment agency, and we put our names down.
Yeah.
And the one day we got a phone call to say, please come along for an interview. So we arrived there for the interview. And we found out that the job was to clean, I don't know if you know those big chimneys, those very, very hard mills in the UK up north.
Like a chimney sweep.
Chimney cleaners, yeah. It was about 100 meters in the sky, and I'm petrified of heights. I just said, no, I'm not prepared to do that. So then we got given a job to paint a pub called Baron Courtney's. It's just outside a place called Rochdale. And we got paint. And Gavin and I used to paint from about 8 o'clock until 12, until all the Patriots used to start arriving. And then it used to be quite interesting to go in and have a beer at lunchtime. And then we never got back to doing any more painting that afternoon. And then after about a week or two, we realized we weren't making any more money.
They stopped paying you.
Very Courtney's, yeah.
Oh my word! I see Rushmere bowled Callahan. I think it was EP Trials on the front field.
No.
Honestly, these guys that bring up this stuff,
So, Gino, if you've got time for stories, I've got stories. Okay, so the story about that one, and it reverts back to there was another friend of mine that was online earlier, in Wayne Brown. Okay, so what happened was the big game of the season was Woodridge versus Greeff. Okay, on the Greeff field. And my mom and dad were keen to go and watch this game, and I was obviously geared up to bowl Rushmere out because he was my man. I needed to get him out, and I was an opening bowler, the whole lot.
Okay.
So my parents, instead of waking me up, well, they probably did wake me up, and they went off and did their morning shopping down in those days, probably the shopping centre down in the old Govan in Beck
Main Street.
Yeah, on the Main Street. They went down.
Okay, Bazaars. Yeah.
No, not AK Bazaars. What's the other one? I think it's got all the ships in it and that. I can't remember it. Anyway.
Garlics.
Somewhere down there. Anyway.
Yeah.
So off they go and they do their shopping, and I wake up and fall asleep again. And when I woke up, it was 10:30 already, and the game started at 10.
Oh.
So you weren't allowed to drive to school in those days. Okay, so I buggered that. So I jumped in the car. I had a little Beetle. My mom and dad had a Beetle. I jumped in the Beetle, and I floored it up to the school through the front gate. I didn't matter if I was in the, and as I'm going past the front of the school, the rector, Dieter Parkendorf, was waiting for me. Stopped the vehicle. I had to go into his office and explain to him, and then got 2 cuts for being late from him. Okay. Then got out, walked in, got into the car, drove another 100 meters, parked the car in the car park outside the hostel at Greeff.
Yeah.
Then got into the change room in the hostel, And there was Rod McLennan and Ethel McKinnon waiting for me, and they gave me a mouthful as well. And then when I walked out onto the field about 45 minutes late, Wayne Brown came up to me and he said to me, "I'm punishing you." I said, "Oh, what? Oh, no." He said, No, you're not bowling until after tea. And I said, "Oh, you can't do that to me. I want to get on the Rushmere." Anyway, Mark stroked 140 that day. He had a really good innings.
Because you weren't bowling, that's why.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I had my opportunity, but it was with an older ball, you know. Then come the end of at the end of the innings, I go out to bat, and Mark and his dad had this theory, okay, that if you won the toss and sent the opposition team into bat, you weren't really keen to win the game. So they had this theory. So they batted until basically tea time in the afternoon, and they left us probably about 40 overs to get about 220 or whatever it is, which was in those days, I mean, a strike rate of nearly 5 or 6 is like impossible in those days.
Yes.
And well, I decided that I'm going to go for it, and I got a quick 50. And then suddenly Mark Reshma came into bowl, and he had probably one of the worst actions I've ever seen of any bowler. And he bowled me a little in-swinger, which I tried to hit through covers and got an inside edge and got bowled. Well, at the age of 57, 56 now, when we all get together, he still reminds me of that.
He reminds you.
So
now you know,
another person on this show reminding me as well. So
yes,
her mom and my mom had met up. They were at school together. Can you believe it? In King Williamstown.
King Williamstown. So an arranged marriage.
Exactly, yeah. And then they met up in Greenacres the once, and they said, Sharon's mom said to my mom, "Can you believe? Sharon's up in Pretoria." So my mom says, "Oh no, I'll ask David for tickets." So my mom phones me and says to me, "Complimentary tickets." And my mom phones me and said, "Dave, the UP tennis team's up there. Can you organize tickets for them?" I said, "Yeah, sure, Mom, no problem." Now I'm thinking, I don't know who I'm organizing tickets for. I really don't know who it is, but anyway, okay. So they came to the hotel that evening to collect them, and I left them at reception, and I was upstairs chatting away. And I went to a couple of guys that played tennis at like Philip Am and Mark Rushmere played a bit of tennis. And I said to them, "Guys, do you know the tennis girls? You know who are they?" No, they don't know. They don't play league tennis and that time. So what I did was I kept a note of which tickets I'd given away. Okay, the seat numbers. Okay. And I made sure that I went and fielded in front of those seat numbers so I could see who the tennis girls were. Yeah,
so exactly. People actually do that. I mean, you actually did. You managed to pull that off.
I pulled it off. I even convinced Kepler. Yeah, and that was tough. That was tough. But it was down in a key position, down a third man or a backward point.
Right.
So I fielded down there, and then just for the first half, they didn't even come. There was nobody there. Those seats were empty. And I thought, no, I've wasted about 6 complimentary tickets here. Cheapers. What's going on here?
And all that arguing to get them there.
Exactly. And then just before the end of the innings, because we were batting second, I could see these girls come walking through, and then I realized, gee, that's Sharon from P. I know Sharon, and then I started putting 2 and 2 together, and that's how
there we go. So then you went over, said hello, and one thing led to another.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Well, I was in 92, 91, 92. I was over in Australia, and just before that, I had, we all know that I had testicular cancer. So many people, well, if you don't know, I had testicular cancer. And so I was over there in the World Cup, the World Series, they call it, in Australia, playing against Australia and New Zealand and South Africa in a quadrangular. And we were playing in Adelaide. No, it was Perth, sorry. And we needed to beat Australia and New Zealand Australia and New Zealand in 2 days to go through to the final. And the big game was obviously Australia. And I came in and I nicked off Mark Waugh, caught Macmillan at second slip, and he was out. And the next ball, I ran up and I bowled a beautiful away swinger, and Steve Waugh went on the drive and nicked it straight to the keeper, and he was out as well. Anyway,
imagine the EP Oaks at home, like,
yeah, exactly. Two of us, like, Hort, Richardson, bowled Callahan, you know.
Oh,
and so anyway, I got the man of the match in that game, and then the next day we went on and beat New Zealand. We were in the final, and I remember lying in my hotel room one day, and Tony Gregg was having this talk show, and they were asking different questions and that type of thing, you know, trying to trick each other. And he came up with this one thing. He said, "Guys, there's a South African cricketer that's touring South Africa at the moment who got both Waugh brothers out with one ball." And everybody was looking at him thinking, what is going on here? What is this man all about? I mean, you can't get double play in cricket. How can you get two people out with one ball, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, it stumped everybody all the audience couldn't answer it. And eventually he said, well, there's this little man from the Eastern Cape. His name's Callahan. He had his testicle removed when he had testicular cancer last year. He's only got one ball. And he got both Waugh brothers out on the weekend.
Both Waugh brothers out. Oh, my soul. One of my favorites, live wire, energetic estate agent, Kobie Potgieter. Always on a mission, always got a new project. Gave us some fantastic advice for investors. What's better to rent or to buy right now?
Definitely buy. I mean, with the
always buy.
Always buy. Because the thing is just the rent, the rental is related to the value of the property, and your interest rate is 7%. So you know, if your property that you are renting is worth R1 million, you more than likely will pay 7, or you probably will pay 9,000. No, 8,000. But if you buy for $1 million, you'll pay 7,000. So you're literally now paying the same for buying as what you are paying for renting. So that is why the first-time homeowners percentage, 64% of all sales is now the first-time homeowners. That's buying.
How do people get the money together? I mean, as somebody who's what's the best way to get that money together to get that first place? I mean, you got to go to the. I saw Better Bond on online here as well.
Better Bond, my partners, Erika and Sandra Jarvis, Erika Venter. Yes. She's the head for the Eastern Cape. Phenomenal woman. And she gives us training every Monday, her and Sandra. So we always know what the banks are doing. We always know which banks are the most lenient at the moment. So just remember, if your bank is Standard Bank, it's not to say that Standard Bank has got an appetite this month. It might be FNB or Absa Bank that's got the appetite. So that's why it's so important to work with a company like Better Bond, because they will know at any given time. Banks sometimes have got an appetite and not. So they know where to place it, and also they know where the best interest rates are given at any given time. But long story short, it's extremely important that as soon as you have an income, that you must get to Sandra or Erika at Better Bond and ask them, what do I qualify for? And
so it's just that standard income that you need. You need to have this, standard income, this, and then you can get something.
You know what the easiest way to work it out on a 10% interest rate is always, if you want to buy a house for instance, R1 million, you need to earn 30,000. That is a 10% interest rate. So you always times the amount that you want to buy with 3, and you divide it by 100, and then you actually see a plus minus if the interest rates do go up to 10%, because currently it's 7%. But also be mindful that the interest rates are not going to stay at 7%. It more than likely will go up. The indicators are that it's not going to go up this year or next year. But from probably 2023, the interest rates are going to slowly go up. Now, if you can remember, in 1997, when we bought this house, the interest rates were 24%.
Yeah.
So
I remember that. I remember that.
In mind that it can go up again. So when you buy, be mindful. But I think for now, also remember now your salary will increase, and the best thing to do is to buy that property and rather buy than rent, because that's also a way for people to save. Because at the end of the day, if you've got an asset, you can borrow money again at a later stage if you need to do something else. And also, just quickly, the property that you need to pay off is always your primary residence, and the investment properties you always need to bond to the full, so you can after some
Okay. Wow.
So, we give many training sessions.
Lots of advice.
Investing properties, so we can definitely assist and help.
Have you ever had to deal with like disreputable people, like a seller or somebody who's dodgy?
Yes, actually, I forgot one. As the stalkie wat ek julle wil vertel. So I get this call from this guy, and he's flying in. And I meet up with him. Now, I don't take strangers in my car, so he was following me. He rented a car. Only when I know you, and I've dealt
Oh, really? I was asking for a lift sometime.
No, I'll take you.
Oh, good.
All good. But anyway, so I show him the properties, and then he says to me, okay, you would like to put an offer in on this one, and this one. He actually, I kid you not, he said to me he's got $5 million that he wants to invest in property. So I take him, he likes this, he asks the right questions. Then I say to him, okay, now how are you going to pay? Where is the cash?
Yeah.
And this was now not through I haven't done all the properties that are lined up that I wanted to show him. When he said to me, no, the cash is in Cape Town. So I said, okay. Or is it is it in a safe deposit box, or at the bank? What is it? I said, he said it's in a suitcase in his hotel room. So I said, it's either drug money or diamond or some kind of illegal money. So, but now I'm scared he might kill me because I now know that he's got that. So I said to him, sir, I think, you first need to get it into the system. Once it's in the system and it's in a legal, like either in a bank or anywhere that you can get it in the system, then you must please come back and we can do all the offer to purchases. But until it's in the system, I will not be able to conclude the sale with you.
Yeah.
You can't believe that people actually want to buy money with a suitcase full of cash.
A suitcase.
I've heard there are so many things that I can tell you. But
it's like a World Cup soccer here. We searched the country far and wide and found one of our best loved DJs from AlgoaFM had been stolen by Radio Jacuranda. So we got Martin Bester on the show, and boy, did we have a good laugh. Now, singing and DJing. I mean, is it? I suppose with singing you can possibly do something else as well, So and it helps.
Yeah, of course.
They help.
Yeah.
Do they help each other?
Look, I mean, of course they do. Yeah, it's all part of the same industry. I think a lot of people in our industry do more than one thing. I mean, whether you act and sing or act and sing and present, and must know our CVs. Gino, MC, drummer, musician, comedian.
Oh, say you mean
voiceover artist.
Yeah. Yes.
Now we can do it all, but music's always been there and will always be there. Radio will come and go. They get tired of radio. They probably have been of me for the last, I would say, years, but it's going to come to an end at some point. But music will always be there.
Yeah, because you also the contracts are always I don't know if you've probably got a nice contract, but I mean that's often 6 months or 3 months or a year at the most. So you never. It's like a musician. You never know when the hell your next bloody gig is going to drop out the sky.
Yeah, you just keep going. I mean, my contract ended about 6 years ago, but I'm still there. That's just a very awkward situation. My fingerprint still works when I go in the door. Yeah, but it is. you're at the mercy of the audience. When they stop liking you, doesn't matter how popular you are around the passages or how much of a nice of a guy you are. It is what it is. It's commercial radio anyway, and when it's your time, it's your time. Yes, man. Because you know what was in Happy Valley was Miss Cabana.
Oh right, yes. Okay.
It was Miss Cabana, which was at the beach office, and because I remember that because the girls had to do rhymes while they were holding their juices, and then the one girl I'll never forget, she said, "Cabana is so delicious, it makes me think of Mauritius." The shit you remember. I mean,
yes, honestly. How many the dinners cooked by Charles in the house in Cape Road and late in Mormon? Did you have lots of dinners there? Eh?
Oh man, I tell you what, Charles cooks, of course. That's where it all started. I mean, and the parties that we used to have and the dinner parties will always be, very, very close to my heart. At the parties at the Penthouse, yes, I did. At one stage, we rented the Penthouse on Sant Antonio opposite King's Beach. 230 square meters of sheer pleasure, and we had the best time in those days, but also the warmer house. And
that is just so like gangster. It's like
dude, and when you open those sliding doors on the balcony.
No ways.
No, we had the best time.
Well, I'm sure you had lots of times, and I'm sure there are lots and lots of stories that you've got to tell that. But instead of you telling them, Martin, we're going to bring on a special guest quickly to enlighten us on what. Tell us about the stories, Shaw.
It's one of those. The names of the not so innocent will not be changed.
Hey. Yes, they will.
You and me. I mean, it's a given. It's a given that we feature in these stories. But the names of the not so innocent will not be changed. I remember fondly all our times in Angelo's as well, in Parliament Street, the original Angelo's, when you, me, and Eula and Mr. Mayor were the fashion police.
I stayed just around the corner. I was in Pearson Street.
Right.
Hey.
And of course the P1 Santa Antonio, where we got to see the 1 year we got to see Sif Santa. The short version is Martin's birthday is the 22nd of December, and he will tell you himself that by a certain age he was tired of happy birthday written in Christmas cards, birthday presents wrapped in Christmas paper, combined presents and stuff like that. So every year he made sure that there was no kind of link to Christmas. And the 1 year he was just like, stuff it, I give up. The theme for my birthday party this year, and it was his birthday in '99. So just before Y2K.
The millennium.
That was a particularly memorable party because everybody came dressed as something Christmas. I went as a Christmas tree, and Paul still I wrapped lights all around myself. I took a lead with me. Paul plugged me in as I walked in through the front door. We waited for me to walk any further until the lights started flashing. And quite memorably on that evening, and one of the stories we can tell is Martin and my friend Lizette, also very good friends with Kevin Reed. She came as an angel that night, and to say that would place her in the worst dressed category or least appropriately dressed is hilarious. And what would have been the most insane photo was taken of her kind of leaning forward with a cigar, with her angel wings on and her halo on. And I don't know who took the picture, but the short version is we will never know what that picture looks like, because that bunch of plonkers then went to the New Year's party in St. Francis, where you are now, on the square, and Lizette lost her camera.
Damn it.
Amongst many other things.
Dignity, underwear, stuff like that.
I
a lot of Gino Spot revolves around nostalgia because it makes you feel good to remember those times. We look back at the old clubs and pubs that we all used to frequent. And some of the most popular shows have featured club owners like Roger Hilligan, Cliffie Francis, and Donovan Noyle, who brought back loads of memories in the comments from all the people that had frequented their places. Here we caught up with Roger Hilligan, who ran the famed Einsteins and Toby Joes down on the beachfront.
Gunter, I knew you were going to bring something like that up.
Dead ends.
Dead ends. It was when some like hardcore rock music would be on, and you all had to lie on your back in the middle of the dance floor and kick your legs up and down like you were a dead end. You've just been sprayed by some doom or something.
Yes. Okay.
And you had to do it in the middle of the jaw.
Oh, right. Okay. It was like free falling.
Yeah.
The free falling.
Yeah. Same shit. So the DJ box is connected to the bar area, and the toilets were on the other side of the dance floor.
Okay.
So when it was humping,
they
couldn't get there.
Oh, I see.
There was a red bucket.
Oh my God, I couldn't get to the toilet.
Yeah.
Oh my soul.
There was the red bucket for emergencies if the ex couldn't get across. And it became legendary because that red bucket actually eventually moved from Einstein's to Indigo. And Duncan Crisp was a regular user of the red bucket.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, that's like health and safety issues.
I don't think there were any of those things back then.
Back then, I didn't worry about that stuff. What did you do?
Okay, just to put in context, I think I was about 21 or something.
Yeah, 21 years old. Yes.
So we go and have a meeting with Costa Christodoulou.
Yes.
And I think I borrowed my dad's briefcase. So we could look important and shit. And
he must have seen straight through that.
Yeah, he sat down there and then we had a chat about his restaurant and said, okay, now we're going to buy it. Just like that. No, we got no money, but we're going to buy it.
You're going to buy it.
Yeah, so well, we had a little bit of, we were generating some income, but not like
close to enough.
Yeah, and so after some lengthy negotiations of paying it off over a year and a billion years and whatever it is, and putting your neck in the noose and the whole story,
of course.
We bought it from him.
Jeez, like.
Yeah, and I think well, I know what I did is I went off and got like 2 student loans because you could get student loans as easy as anything in the world back then.
Yes.
And so I stuck that money into the thing.
Oh, my soul.
And
so you actually went and took a fat risk.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, I took 2 student loans, put money in, that kind of stuff. And and I think the bank, after a few years, invited me for lunch and said, when are you going to pay the money back? So I said, well, your policy is that you have to finish your degree.
Yes.
And then you have to pay the money back. I still haven't got my last subject. So a Toby mug is a pewter mug with a lid.
The bar, the ones that are sitting in your dad's bar.
So I said, and he came with like, it's on the seafaring oak, Toby and Job being the mug.
Yeah, Toby Joe's.
So that's where it came up with.
Oh, no ways. Hagen, well done.
Yeah, he did. He got the name.
It's almost good enough for a franchise. That,
well, I was thinking that.
Yeah, you were thinking. Was that your plan?
Yeah, I don't know. We were thinking of it.
Yeah. When it started to do so well, I mean, and it was really a golden time for you then as well. It was really
with Toby's.
Yeah, in those times, there's Einstein's, Toby's.
Yeah, shit. I think that was. I feel sorry for the kids in PE now because I don't know if there's not that there's nothing to do. Yeah. I'm just saying there's not the variety that there was. I mean, there you had Tuppers upstairs. Donovan was running a bloody great show there. I mean, you had Continuum, you had Hot Shots, you had. I can't even remember. The Dross was quite a jaw.
Yeah, the Dross as well.
I mean, that's just in the centre.
Yeah.
And then you had Spiricles, you had all the other things. I mean, there were so many places to go to.
Yeah.
There was some drama with one of the other pubs upstairs with it laid some complaints to the municipality.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so, and Greg phoned me and said, listen, actually, they want to demolish the deck.
Oh, shit.
And, what must I do? I don't give a shit. What could they do? You build the deck! We'll deal with other shit later. You build it! See, they're going to take my equipment away. I said, I don't care. You build it.
Keep on.
So they tried to get an order against us to have it pulled down or whatever it was.
Okay.
And it was I'd built 1.5 meters over the boundary line.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm not very good with boundaries.
Yes. You push them.
And so we went 1.5 meters over the boundary, and I went over to the land. I found the land was it was the museum's land.
Okay.
So
yes,
I rented 1.5 meters by 3 meters of property from
the
museum, and they couldn't do anything.
What's the flap?
The flap is the place you meet.
Oh, right.
It was the Indigo entrance to the bar. So there wasn't any communication. It wasn't as easy to communicate. Then we'll meet you at the flap at 10. That was the spot. You can go wander around and go for a couple other jewels, but the flap at 10.
The flap at 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really pissed off with them.
What?
There was a motor car accident.
All right.
And I got put in the back of the police car.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And he was standing right there, and the cops were all looking over there. I said, just open the flipping latch. And I'm going to bolt out of here, and I'm going to go. They'll never catch me. And he wouldn't open the flipping door. And I told him, I said, no one's here. There's no one here. Open the flipping thing. I'm gone. I'm going to run.
You probably would have got into more cuck. I think he did you a favor, Jonathan.
No, they would never have caught me.
I think they would.
Yeah, I was cross with them. I think we were in Pilsen, where they make the Pilsner full beer.
Pilsner, yeah.
And I think I was in jeans and a t-shirt, and it was minus 16.
Yes, yeah.
And I was having fun at the club, and then the club closed.
Yeah.
And they said, "No, well, you must go home."
You go home now, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I've
lost my mates.
Stagger.
I lost my mates. I looked left and right down the street, and it was like snowing and cobblestones. And I don't know where to go.
It is cold, eh?
Yeah. So I went to a hospital and.
Hospital?
Yeah, I found a hospital. I walked and found a hospital.
You dehydrated from the booze as well?
No, just went to a hospital because it was
warm.
It was warm. I didn't live till tomorrow, you know?
Yes.
So I found some cardboard and I put it over myself.
Oh, myself, like a
homeless
person.
And they wanted to throw me out the hospital.
You forgot about that with your most uncomfortable place you ever slept. That's worse.
No, it wasn't, because I pulled up in a taxi.
Yeah.
And he went out to go look for. So I jumped in his taxi and I locked all his doors, and I said, "Doors on the back seat." He was banging on the window. I'm not dying yet today.
Take a chance.
Cliffie Francis came on and gave us a peek at the earlier era of the 70s and 80s with all the clubs that he did, Village Green and those Cagney's, places that people would really remember with great nostalgia. Cliffie was a quiet old geezer, but with lots of stories.
Cagney's was the best. And I remember Cagney. I was like, because I was too young for Village Green, and I was just on that cusp. And I remember Cagney's well. Always go over there, especially on the Sunday, to watch that thing. Cagney's was the best, says Cindy Miller. Many a night we left there 3 or 4 a.m. Remember Harley in the window?
Yeah,
that was
still got the baby with me.
Have you still got the Harley?
Yeah, we put it into old school. I don't know if anybody went to. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, there we go. There it is.
Yeah,
along with Norman.
No, my worst was when we opened up the Village Green, and like I said, we finished putting the last coat of paint on the wall, most probably about 5 to 8, and then we rushed back to my house, jumped in the bath. We all had to take turns into the bath in the same water and rush back again. In the meantime, I told my girlfriend's mother to hold on the orders.
Yeah.
So when I got into the kitchen, there was most probably about 60 orders waiting.
My soul.
So we were stone dead, absolutely. We couldn't make it. That was an absolute disaster.
60 orders.
Yeah, no, we were finished dead. So I was partly to blame for that.
All right.
But yeah, it was also having no experience, and you got 200 people in to try and feed. But we learned, and we catered. After that, we did quite a lot of catering. And
there must have been a lot of upset people that night.
Yeah, I locked myself in the kitchen cold room.
Jeez.
With a couple of Frosties to drown my sorrows.
Oh dear. All right,
but we were also fortunate as well, just to say that we turned it into what we called a bistro tech in those days.
Oh, a bistro tech.
Yeah, and
so discotheque and a bistro.
Yeah. And Peter Wise had brought down Savuka to do a show here.
Wow.
And of course I knew Gary because of the tank connection.
Yes.
And I got hold of Gary and I said, listen, if you've got open night, and he said, yes, we can do this thing. So on the Saturday night, I can't remember, he did Peter Wise did Saturday, and we opened up the Friday night, and we opened up Village Green Discotheque with Savuka, which was incredible.
I'm sure it must have been full.
Johnny Clegg, all the guys, and we gave them steak, egg, and chips, and they all were hungry. They said, no, we want more steak. But what an evening, and what a privilege once again to have those guys of that caliber. Weird man.
I must ask you about the Yellow Canary. The Cagney's taxi.
Oh my God!
What is that from Steve? He says.
Yeah, we had this. I think it was a Chevrolet or something like that, in 1946 or something.
Oh my word!
And we decided to use this as promotion, so we sprayed it bright canary yellow and put Cagney signs all over it, and we used to ride around with this little.
Classic.
Yeah, there was lots of things happening in those days. It just seemed so easy in those days.
Yeah, was it that one?
Yep.
Is that it?
That's it, yeah. I think when I was still very young, maybe 13 or something, like, that sensitive age when you're getting a little bit pubic hair.
Yes.
Yes. And there was this place in South Coast called the Lido.
Yes.
And it had an underground restaurant.
Yeah.
And it had a clear panel of glass.
Yes.
And I was in the top, and I dived in, and my pants came off.
Oh, the swimming pool. Your pants came off. As a 13-year-old, that is just the worst thing that can ever happen. Oh, my soul.
I rushed out of there, and it stuck my head well and truly under a towel and got out of the place. I think when we opened up Honky Tonks as well, it was a very special night because it was quite a big concern.
Yes.
And we'd kind of pulled Cagney's as far as we could go.
Yes, okay.
And we opened up a whole new venture, and it opened up, and it was just packed, and it was
magic.
Yeah,
magic.
It was one of the proud moments,
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Gino Spot, the second on New Year's Day, the second in our three-part series of the Looking Back at Gino Spotlight 2021. That brings us to the middle of August, and that'll be on the 4th of January, where we'll have part 3 of our series in Spotlight, the Gino Spotlight 2021, where we're going to finish off the year. Thank you very much for joining us on Gino Spot. Thank you to our sponsors, Fitch and Leeds, and thank you to Spa, as well as our Amobia, our internet provider, and Fat Cats for the food, and Casey for the punters. We'll see you on the 4th for part 3 of our series.
Relax, sit down, coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot, never mind your liver, get to Gino Spot. Gino Spot! Get to Gino Spot. Gino Spot! Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle, have a Gino shot.